Bhakti Vedanta Iti Saraswati Deve Guravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Ashatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare श्री श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद जी की जय। उपस्थित गौर भक्त की जय। निदाय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि। So we're in chapter number 15. Okay, Yoga of the Supreme Person, Purushottam. Text number will be completed by yesterday, 6. Yeah. Okay. So please recite after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Bhagavate Vaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, and we are into chapter number 15, which is entitled as the Yoga of the Supreme Person, or in Sanskrit it is called as the Purushottama Yoga. Many devotees, they actually recite the by heart this particular chapter, 15th chapter, during Adhik Mas and Kartik Mas, etc. etc. So we are on to the text number 6. Please recite after me. Na tad bhasayate suryo,
न तद्भासयते सूर्यो
na shashanko na pavakah,
न शशाङ्को न पावकः
yad gatva na nivartante,
यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते
dhama paramam mama.
तद्धाम परमं मम
न tad bhasayate suryo, na
न
shashanko
तद्
pavaka, yad gatva na nivartante, tad dhama paramam mama. So the word-to-word meaning, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanarvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ji ki Jai. Translation. That supreme abode of mind is not illuminated by sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. Purport. I'll just read the first paragraph. It's a big purport. The spiritual world, the abode of Supreme Wisdom Godhead Krishna, which is known as Krishna Loka, Golok Vrindavan, is described here. In the spiritual sky, there is no need of sunshine, moonshine, fire, or electricity, because all the planets are self-luminous. We have only one planet in this universe, the sun, which is self-luminous. But all the planets in the spiritual sky are self-luminous. The shining effulgence of all those planets, called Vaikunthas, constitutes the shining sky known as Brahmajyoti. Actually, the effulgence is emanating from the planet of Krishna, Goloka Vrindavan. Part of that shining effulgence is covered by Mahatattva, the material world. Other than this, the major portion of that shining sky is full of spiritual planets, which are called Vaikunthas, chief of which is Goloka Vrindavan. So let us recite the prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namne Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarini Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratushe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gauranki Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubyascha Kripa Sindhu Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Yat Kripadam Shri Guru Sri Chaitanya. Okay, Hare Krishna. Welcome back to our study and discussion of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the last 6 chapters. And we completed yesterday the 14th chapter, the three modes of material nature, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, wherein we saw how the last two verses we saw yesterday, the most important verses where Lord Krishna is telling about how he is how one can transcend the three modes by avavicharani bhakti. And then we also discussed Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. And then what is that Brahma or Brahma Jyoti? So Krishna says next that I am the basis. Brahmano hi pratishta aham. So like that in 14th chapter we saw about how the conditioned living entity is influenced by the three modes, how is conditioned limited by the three modes, and then what are the activities when the particular mode becomes prominent, and what is the effect of three modes, especially after the death, while we are living, when one particular mode becomes prominent, what are the activities and results of the living entities. And then most important last part we saw that uh, how to transcend three modes. And then we started with the Purushottama Yoga, the yoga of the Supreme Person, where Lord Sri Krishna gives the analogy of of the Ashwatha tree, a reflection in the water of the real tree. So those things we discussed, and we discussed the section where we can go from the material world to the spiritual world. How one can go. So we discussed these qualifications: nirmana moha, jita sanga dosha, adhyatma nitya, vinivritta kama, dandva vimukta, sukha dukkha sangir, gachanti mudha, amudha, padam avde. So that padam avyam, that also we discussed. So many details of the analogies, the branches, the leaves, the reflection in the water, etc., etc. So many things we discussed. So, anybody would like to quickly revise a few points from the yesterday's discussion? Anything struck you? Anything you found interesting? Anything you could understood? You remember? Prerna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Um, you have given very nice explanation about why Krishna's Maya is direct here, because it is ordained by Krishna. You also mentioned that picture where Krishna is above and the three ladies. Then Bhakti Yoga is culmination of all paths. Moksha Lagita is pure devotional service is divide of liberation. And also some points were discussed about the Vishuddha Sattva also. And in 15th chapter, the material world, we discussed about how the material world is compared to different things. So the one said the Kalaya Shashvatam, in fifth canto, material world is compared to forest, in 11th canto to ocean, then also to some places in Prabhupada's book to hospital, to toilet, to movement,
Okay,
and parental
okay,
design.
okay. You're almost covering everything. Okay, fine, very good. Thank you. So, Prasanna Gopal Prabhu, you would like to share something?
Yes, the chapter 15 started with tree, the example of tree like Urdhvamala Vadashaga. The original tree is there and on the bank of one lake, and that reflection is nothing but the perverted reflection of that tree. That is nothing but the material world. And there is a description of different twigs and branches. And the reflection is on the desire, the like it is on the desire platform of desire, and till the time the desire is there, living entities will be there, will be get attached to that tree. He will not come out of that. So and of course that material world's analogies we had discussed, and the description of trees in the second text is mentioned. and then how to detach, or how to cut off oneself from that tree is mentioned in the text 3 and 4. The weapon of detachment is mentioned. With the determination, one must cut down the root of the tree, which is mentioned there. And then text number 5, there are characteristics mentioned. Uh, your voice is connected.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it, I'm just hearing.
Yeah.
Now I was saying we don't have to cut out the root. Root is actually Brahmaji for the reflection. And the
Okay.
main root of the real tree is Krishna only, From Krishna only everything is starting. So those roots we don't have to cut. We have to cut our attachment. Yes,
Oh,
like
okay, okay, yeah, okay, okay. Then the in text number 5, there are different characteristics of how to like.
okay. Okay, Prabhu. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I think you are also covering almost everything. So I'll just give a last chance to Arun Prabhuji and then we'll proceed. Yes, thank you, Prabhu. Prasanna Gopal. Arun Jaiswal Prabhuji. Yes.
Hare Krishna. So, 2 3 points that I liked, that like in the first 3 verses of 15th chapter, uh, Krishna talks about the analogy of the inverted tree, or the reflection of material world, reflection of a spiritual world in the form of material world. And then we discussed it in third and fourth verse, that why can't people perceive, or why can't they perceive? So we understood it because they are ignorant of this knowledge. And then we were discussing that how scientists, although they are going on discovering things, but they cannot fathom the start and the end of the tree. So then the question arises that how can we do that? So by weapon of detachment. So different spiritualists try different processes, like we discussed neti neti or gyan and all. But for a devotee, he is in advantage because he doesn't need. It's not a two-step process for devotee. It's a single-step process. He try to attach himself to Krishna and spiritual process, and automatically the detachment comes. So it's one-way process only. It's one time. And then there we were discussing that the concept of Yukta Vairagya and the pastime of Srila Prabhupada. That Srila Prabhupada says we need all the wealth, and to propagate the Krishna consciousness movement. Seeing the image of some yogi, that he is avoiding these things. So that's how like Prabhupada have given us the topmost knowledge, that how can we utilize everything in Krishna's service. And then in 15.5, that how to attain that real tree is discussed. Apart from this, from 14th chapter, I like the point. The last 2 verses we have seen that how Krishna is replying to Arjuna's third question, that what is the way to transcend this material nature in 14.26. And then Krishna says Mameva Prapadyante. That when then we discuss different what do you say purports given by different acharya, that there Krishna says no one else but me only. And then we saw that how mood comes from mode. So that was very like nice for me to hear. Mood comes from mode, but as a devotee, as a sadhaka, yes, it can happen. But once we have taken some seva, or once we have taken some practice, then it should not happen that by the mode our mood is changing. So whatever process, 16 rounds, reading Srila Prabhupada books, it should not happen that okay, today mood is not there, I'll not read. So that should not change. So whatever practice as a sadhaka we are doing, it should be fixed as per the acharyas. And
Yes.
then in
Okay. You have
14.27,
few more points here.
yeah, 14.27, I would like to relate
Yeah.
that you told. I like that point, that how Krishna understanding the mind of probably the devotee or the reader, that even if I do Avyavicharini bhakti, so will I get the impersonal Brahman effulgence because I'm trying for Golok Vrindavan, or I'm trying to achieve Krishna. So will this Avyavicharini bhakti give me some lesser thing? Then Krishna tells the relationship between his effulgence and himself, that they are non-different, they are the same. And then Sridhar Swami says that it is like concentrated form of Brahman, just as sun is concentrated form of light. So this point I liked, the relationship between how Krishna is understanding the mood and replying himself.
Okay. Fine. Thank you. So the while you are talking about these modes and moods, and how we should not get under the influence of the three modes, and we should not depend upon our mood or on the mind. So there is a nice statement made by Srila Prabhupada in 3.30 purport. Mai sarvani karmani sanyas adhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yuddhasya vigatajjana. So Arjuna is being told to yuddhasya vigatajjana, give up the lethargy and get up and fight. So Prabhupada writes there that activities in Krishna consciousness, they should be executed like if in a military fashion, just like military people, whether they like it to get up in the morning or not get up in the morning, to go on parade, 1, 2, 1, 2, same thing doing again and again. Yes, sir, yes, sir. They like it or don't like it. They have to go through this rigorous drill actually. So why do they do that even if there is no war actually? Because you cannot predict when the war will begin. When the war will begin, you should be ready by your daily regime and routine like that. So similarly, we don't know when the death will strike us, or when calamities will strike us. What will happen? When our resources will be taken away. So whatever it may be, our daily regime should be like the military style, military like so rigid and rigorous like that. So there is a saying, the more you sweat in the peace, the less you bleed in the war. While there is a time available with us, nice practice if we do, then actually at the war time, because Prabhupada also says in 9.30 purport, when you take to devotional service, it is like declaring a war with Maya. So once you declare war with Maya, Maya is not going to sit peacefully. Maya is going to attack you. And then you need to be ready with your rigorous drills like that. Okay. So before we start, Madhav Harinam Prabhu is there? Yes. So he was asking me about this Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate and merging in the Brahman and again falling down from there. So I just like devotees to read certain texts from Srila Prabhupada's purports, lectures, letters, etc., where Srila Prabhupada clearly states, like, it is not that everybody falls from there. One can stay as long as, I mean, if one can stay in the material world as long as one wishes, why can't one can stay in the Brahmajyoti as long as one wishes? He can, but there is a chance because he is not attached to the lotus feet. That existence in the Brahmajyoti is also non-Krishna conscious existence. He is aware of Atma, but he may not be, so much aware of service to Krishna and Krishna personality, etc. So it is also non-Krishna conscious situation. And therefore, if you see our acharyas, especially Kaivalyam Narkayate, Prabodhananda Saraswati says, Kaivalya means merging into the Brahmajyoti is like, for devotees, it is like hell, where there is no service. It is told in the third canto by uh, uh, Kapil Dev to Mother Devoti, that Diyamanam na Grunnanti Vinamat Sevanam Jana. My devotees, they don't accept even the 4 other kinds of Vaishnava muktis if there is no service to his lotus, like that. So I will just like, who can read? Yamuna Vilas Prabhu, can you please first read from the screen the reference in the 4.27 purport where Srila Prabhupada talks about, chance of falling down from there. Please read.
Bhagavad Gita 14.27, chance of falling down from Brahman platform. When a living entity conditioned by this material nature begins the cultivation of spiritual knowledge, he elevates himself from the position of material existence and gradually rises up to the Brahman conception of the Supreme. This attainment of the Brahman conception of life is the first stage in self-realization. At this stage, the Brahman realized person is transcendental to the material position, but he is not actually perfect in Brahman realization. If he wants, he can continue to stay in the Brahman position and then gradually rise up to Paramatma realization and then to the realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are many examples of this in Vedic literature. The 4 Kumaras were situated first in the impersonal Brahman conception of truth, but then they gradually rose to the platform of devotional service. One who cannot elevate himself beyond the impersonal conception of Brahman runs the risk of falling down. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that although a person may rise to the stage of impersonal Brahman without going further, with no information of the Supreme Person, his intelligence is not perfectly clear. Therefore, in spite of being raised to the Brahman platform, there is the chance of falling down if one is not engaged in the devotional service of the Lord.
So that is the position of the Gyanis, those Brahmavadis who would like to merge. But there is a chance. It is not that everybody has to fall down, but there is a chance because they are not attached to the devotional service of the Lord. So Arun Jaiswal Prabhu, you raised a hand for.
I have one, like, I had one clarification
Can we
or
just complete
question.
these quotations from Prabhupada and then can just go to your question? So yes, Arun Prabhu, we can read from the screen.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Bhagavad Gita 14.27, chance of falling down from Brahman platform. Your second question about falling down from the Brahma Jyoti is answered that it is not that one must fall down, but that they generally fall down. There is a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto, second chapter, verse 26,
It's
which
actually
says, my
32. Yeah.
32,
Yeah.
which says, my dear lotus-eyed personality of Godhead, persons who are very proud of becoming one with the Brahma effulgence and thereby consider that they have become liberated are actually in a contaminated consciousness on account of the absence of devotional service unto you. Such persons may rise to a high level of spiritual understanding as far as the impersonal Brahma Jyoti, but on account of the lack of devotional service unto you, they generally fall down again into material contamination.
And that's how Srila Prabhupada explains. They come down and they open up the hospitals, this, that, etc. Okay. So Prasanna Gopal Prabhu can read the next one. Without reading the verse, you can just directly read. Yeah.
In the ninth chapter of Bhagavad Gita 9.21, Lord Krishna also asserts, when they have thus enjoyed heavenly sense pleasure, they return to the mortal planet again. Thus, after exhausting the results of the pious activities, one has to come again to the lower planetary systems and begin a new chapter of pious activities. It is therefore said in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.12,
Naishkarmem api achyuta bhava varjitam.
Nishkarmyapi api achyuta bhava varjitam. The path of liberation is not at all secure
Secure.
unless one attains the devotional service of the Lord. Even if one is promoted to the impersonal Brahmajyoti, he runs every chance of falling down into this material world. If it is possible to fall down from Brahmajyoti, which is beyond the higher planetary systems in this material world, then what can be said of the ordinary yogis and karmis who can only be elevated to the higher material planets? Thus, the wives of the denizens of the higher planetary systems did not very much appreciate the results of karma, jnana, and yoga.
And I think the last one is here. The next question about the living entities falling down in this material world are not from the impersonal Brahman. Existence in the impersonal Brahma is also within the category of non-Krishna consciousness. Those who are in the Brahman effulgence, they are also in the fallen condition. So there is no question of falling down from a fallen condition. When a fall takes place, it means falling down from a non-fallen condition. We have to go to the spiritual platform, and that spiritual platform is Krishna consciousness. We have to change the consciousness from material platform, from mental platform, from intellectual platform to the platform of Krishna. That is our program, Krishna consciousness. So if we become fully Krishna conscious, there is no chance of falling down. If we do not become, then there is always chance of falling down, 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 down. Okay. So that was the question raised by Madhav Harinam Prabhu. So this is what Srila Prabhupada says in many other places and many other purports of Srimad Bhagavatam also. Okay. So yes, where is our Arun Prabhu? Yeah, you had a. Can you just park your question and remind me at the end of our discussion? Otherwise, it will take
Yes,
maybe
Prabhuji.
a long time, and we may lose our time for discussing the verses and
Yes,
completing
Prabhuji.
the syllabus. Okay, thank you. So please remind. So where are we now? 15.6. Okay. So 15.6, as we said, it is a transcendental advertisement. Many people in this material world, they give advertisement, but they are actually for promoting their own products. They are not so much for the benefit of the one who's watching the advertisement, but here it is a transcendental advertisement where Krishna is inviting all of us as actual for our benefit. Krishna is actually telling this. Okay. So what he's telling here, the characteristics. Earlier he said what? Those who are having those qualities, they achieve that gachanti amudha padam avyayam tat. So what is that padam avyayam tat? What is that what is that destination supreme? So that is the Krishna's abode. That is the Golok Vrindavan or the Vaikuntha planets or the back home, back to Godhead. So where he says, na tat bhasayati suru. There is no need of uh, sunlight, na shashanko, na pavaka, not the moonlight or the electricity or fire. Yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama param. So he's saying that that dham is actually my dham. So that spiritual abode is my abode. So somebody asked a question. So is this material world, does it not belongs to Krishna? So why Krishna is telling Supreme that abode is mine, that spiritual abode is mine? Why not the material world? Material world also belongs to Krishna only, is it not? So what is so special? What is the understanding? Yes, somebody would like to try. Yes, Kishore Madhu.
Like for a king, the entire kingdom is his, but the palace where he stays is a special place for him.
Okay, okay. The palace where he stays is a special place. Okay, Yamuna Vilas Prabhu.
Basically, the Lord is telling his address that he's in spiritual world. Although the material world is also he is the creator indirectly, but he is residing in spiritual world.
Okay, fine. He's residing in the material world also. Andantarastha Paraman Chayantarastham. He's there in every item. But fine, his address is there also. Okay, Prasanna Gopal.
So the material world is temporary, and it is just a flickering. From Lord's point of view, it's a very tiny thing, and the very for a small period it is there. So it is insignificant. Just like we go in the train, so we don't say that train is ours. We just it is just for time being we are there, and we again come to our home. So it's like that.
Okay, fine. Arun Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. As a matter of fact, we understand that both belongs to Krishna, but here Krishna is specifically calling for the place where we all want to go to as a search of happiness, or we don't know, but Krishna is telling. So specifically, he's mentioning that place that it's mine, so that he's scheduling us.
Yes, yes, fine, okay, perfect. Yes. So if you just read that Tadhama Paramam Mama, there are some specialities of this Paramam Dham, this transcendental or superior Dham. So the last paragraph, the word Paramam Mama, can you please read Mukund Patruji? The fourth paragraph.
The word Paramam Mama are very important here. Actually, every nook and corner is the property of the Supreme Lord, but the spiritual world is Paramam, full of six opulences. The Katha Upanishad 2.2.15 also confirms that in spiritual world there is no need of sunshine, moonshine, or stars. Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam. For the whole spiritual sky is illuminated. For the whole spiritual sky is illuminated by the eternal potency of the Supreme Lord. That supreme abode can be achieved only by surrender and by no other means.
Okay, thank you. So yes, every nook and corner is the property of Lord Sri Krishna only, but that spiritual world is Tadhama Paramam Mama. It is Paramam, it is transcendental, it is superior. And why it is superior? There are a couple of reasons here given in the same verse. That the first reason is that there is no need of any light source there because everything is self-effulgence. And Prabhupada is we read that first paragraph where it is said, in this material world, there is one planet like that, the sun planet, which is self-effulgence. And everything else, whether it is moon, whether it is earth, all of the planetary systems, all the living entities, they're sustaining because of the sunlight and the heat received from the sunlight. So that's the first reason. Reason number one, why it is Paramam Mama, because there is no need of any light source. Second paragraph, he says, Yad gatva na nivartante. Once you go back home, once you reach the supreme abode, the real tree, then you don't have to come back to this miserable place. And that is Krishna's promise. The highest authority is promising that. So please, somebody can read that second paragraph quickly. Sri Ganga Putra Prabhu, can you read?
As long as the living entity is in this dark material world, he is in the conditional life. But as soon as he reaches the spiritual sky, by cutting through the false, perverted tree of this material world, he becomes liberated. Then there is no chance of his coming back here. In this conditional life, the living entity considers himself to be the Lord of this material world. But in his liberated state, he enters into the spiritual kingdom and becomes an associate of the Supreme Lord. There he enjoys eternal bliss, eternal life, and full of knowledge.
Okay, yes. So there is no coming back from there. Yad gatvana nivartante tad dhama paramam. Therefore, it is paramam mama. We don't come back here again. We are free. We are eternally happy, and we are situated, eternal bliss, life, and full of knowledge, like that. And now, why, as we said, why Krishna is telling this? This is for our own benefit. And Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that we should be kept, one should be captivated by this information. And then, after getting captivated, he should desire to transfer himself from that eternal world and extricate himself from this false reflection of reality. So it is said, if we are not captivated by the information given by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita and all the Vedic texts, we will be captivated, our mind will be captured by the information of this material world, this social media, advertisement, all the propaganda which goes on here, scientific, culture, or whatever it may be, we will be captivated by that if we are not captivated by information given by Krishna, like that. So almost 30, 40 years back, when there was no social media, no internet, no Google, no YouTube, etc., when I was studying my engineering, so some of our friends, engineering students, they were having more information about the universities in the US, and they had more precise information about the rules, regulations, subjects, this, that, etc., where to do PhD, MS, etc., etc. And they were appeared to be more captivated by that information than they had any knowledge about their own universities, or the localities and the cities in India itself, like that. So this way, if we can get captivated. So if you see Srimad Bhagavatam third canto, when Vidurji is being insulted by Duryodhana and he goes on the pilgrimage, avoiding the war while the war is going on, he goes on and meets Uddhavji first, and then he goes on to meet Maitreya Muni. And the entire canto 3 and canto 4 is almost the discussion between Maitreya Muni and Vidurji, question answers, like that. So he first meets Uddhavji on the Yamuna bank of Yamuna, and Uddhavji is completely captivated by Krishna's remembrance. There's a chapter called Remembrance of Krishna, and Krishna's remembrance means Uddhavji is remembering his extraordinary beauty, his extraordinary mercy, his extraordinary activities, like that. He is remembering and is completely captivated by that information, by that remembrance, Uddhavji. And he says there's a very famous verse, how Krishna actually was so merciful even to Putana. And he says there, Aho Bakiyam Stanakalakutam Jigham Sayapaya Yadapya Sadvi Lebhe Gatim Dhatri Mujikam Tatonyam Kamva Dayalum Sharanam Rajema. So he's saying that, I'll just cut it short now, in short. So although this the sister of Baki, this, although she was a sadhvi, and she put stana kalakutam, a little bit of that kalakutam, and you are dead, you are no more, like that. She came and she tried to feed it to Krishna. But what did Krishna? Krishna is so merciful. Lebhe gatim dhatrim. Lebhe, she, what was the effect of doing that particular act of trying to kill? And some little service attitude Krishna saw there in her, and the effect of that, Lebhe gatim, what gati she achieved? Dhatrim, the nurse, the those who are actually helping in the delivery of a lady. So that place Krishna gave, almost a mother's place Krishna gave to that Putana in the spiritual world. Kamva dayalum sharanam bhajame. Who can be more merciful than Krishna, to whom I can go and surrender? This is the remembrance, and how this is how Uddhavji is captivated by Krishna's remembrance, his mercy, his bewildering activities, etc., like that. So when people come to our temple, ISKCON temples, they are captivated by various things. Somebody is captivated by kirtan, somebody is by deities, somebody by the books, somebody by the prasadam, by philosophy, and so many, some amazing lectures, dioramas, this, that, cleanliness, etc., etc., like that. When I came to Krishna consciousness first, after going through so many organizations, so-called spiritual organizations, I landed in ISKCON, and I saw that here the devotees are so focused on Krishna as a supreme personality of Godhead, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and Bhagavad. That is actually the focus. And any question you ask them, They will quote the references, logical answers they will give, as if we are studying engineering, etc., like that. So, and then of course when I heard Srila Prabhupada's lecture from the second canto, that was the end of it. Like I was clean bold like that. So, some of you would like to share when you came to Krishna consciousness in the first place, initially, what was that captivated you? Anybody would like to share? Like Prabhupada is saying here, we should get captivated by this information which Krishna is giving in 15.6 about his own superior abode. Yes, Arun Jaiswal.
First thing, like because I got connected through college program from ISKCON Juhu. So first time when we went to Juhu, there in a program, I got to see His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj, all in the same dais in auditorium. And like I was enchanted by the purity which was reflecting from them. So that was the first thing. And over a long period of time, like since last 7-8 years, um, two three things I like very much. One thing is Vaishnav songs, that uh, they are so meditative. So one thing. Second thing is glorification. That glorification in the form of even a small devotee is there, his birthday is there, so devotees glorify, and even they glorify you also. So that glorification part I like most, one of the most thing that I like in ISKCON. I've never seen it before. So these two things especially I like very much.
Okay, fine. So it is said, the whole world is envious. Each one is envious of each other. Each one state is envious of other state. Each country is envious of the other country. But it is said, what is the antidote for the envy? It is actually glorification. And I also heard what is actually envy. Envy means it is indirect glorification. So devotees are actually involved in direct glorification. Okay, fine. So Kishore Madhav Prabhu, you want to say something about what captivated you?
Yes, Prabhu. See, when I came to ISKCON, I was very skeptical when I was introduced that these are maybe like typical sadhus which I have seen from my childhood. Like they wear the saffron, but as a showing personality, they are different, but in actual personality, they are different. But when I went deeper into them, I observed that each and every Prabhutis or Brahmachari in our ashram, everywhere across temples, they are very sincere in their conduct, not only on appearance basically, about their services and everything. So this sincerity actually captured me.
Okay, very nice. Very nice. So one devotee was a businessman, and he goes on to meet many, many big business people and their secretaries and big hotels, etc. So he was sharing the experience when he meets this businessman. He says, you can immediately make out, they are trying to get something out of you, and therefore they are inviting for parties, this, that, etc. For their own benefit. But he says, when I see the brahmacharis in ISKCON, who may not be having a bank account, who may not be having 5 paisa also into their bank account, but if you see their character, actually you feel like touching their feet, like that. Yes, Prerna Lakhmi.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, 10 years back, when we shifted to this society, one of my friend I was staying in one floor on the other building, and she was मेरे सामने वाली building में she was living on the same floor. I was also in spirituality, but with another organization, and we used to come at the same time morning 6:30 to water the tulsi, and I was very much attracted to her tilak, that is kon tilak. Then she found that I am also inclined to spirituality. Then she invited me for Bhagavad Gita class, where I met Har Grace Champaklata Mataji. Due to some reason, due to family, she went, and then she handed me over to Har Grace Janva Mataji, and I got attracted, enchanted by her purity, her deity worship, and I fall in love with Janva Mataji. Then I was very much inclined to Bhagavad Gita in from my school days also. Then I got an opportunity to hear from her. I'm a doctor by profession, so I asked my husband that I want to close OPD on morning time on Tuesday because I have class, and then I received nectar from her. Then at that time also I was not much serious, but once His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrut Maharaj came, and I saw Maharaj, and I took Krishna consciousness very seriously. So that is here I got the platform to go deeper into bhakti. Initially, I was just it was ritualistic. Subah utho, ye karo, wo karo. I was doing everything, but there was no meaning. But ISKCON has given me the meaning of everything, whatever devotional services I am performing, and how um, devotion is devoid of material desires. That's
Okay.
what attracted me.
Okay, very nice. Thank you. Yes, Yamuna Vilas Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So I was, no doubt, I was captivated by Prasadam. But apart from that, I would like to tell that I came through college program. So before coming to ISKCON, I have seen that temples, like people go to temple, they will just bow down, they will ring the bell, but education was not given. ISKCON was the first institute that I saw that they are imparting or giving some education. And like what attracted me was the spiritual retreat. The college program, they took us for a spiritual retreat to GEV. And that time I actually felt that, I'm outside somewhere from the material world, not doing any other things, but just focused on Krishna. And the knowledge, the sessions which were given were very informative and very important. And whatever knowledge like we received through Discover Yourself session, it's not just the theoretical knowledge, but we can see that actually in our life, we can see that how the mind is working. And practically, I could see that this is all happening in my life. So I could relate the knowledge. So, but of course, the Prasadam was the first point that captivated me.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Prasade Sarva Dukkhana Mani Rasu Pajai. Yes, Prasanna Gopal.
Yes, I was captivated by Vamsivardhan Prabhu. Actually, Vamsivardhan Prabhu has brought me Krishna consciousness. So his eloquent explanation of DYS and loving and caring nature of him, that was very captivating, and to pull me from that atmosphere and to bring in the Krishna consciousness, that was the effective factor. And later on, there are many factors which are captivating, like even Mridang also. After entering into Kunjavira temple, the way the Mridang was playing, and it used to vibrate our heart, not only the ears, and it used to vibrate our heart and make us forget everything and concentrate on the temple hall and the Kunjavira. There is nobody else outside, so that was captivating. And of course, Loknath Swami Maharaja's the Sapta, Bhagavad Sapta in 2004. That time it was very much captivating, and it pulled me. And even I noticed, and when I was thinking what is captivating now, also there are many things which are captivating, and I pray that that captivating thing should remain. Not only that time it was captivating. If whenever that is ended, then the Krishna consciousness also will also end. So I pray that that captivating thing should remain in different ways. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Very nice. So I also pray that you should also captivate others, like you are getting captivated by Mridanga playing. Have you learned Mridanga playing yourself or not yet?
Yeah, I learned it in yoga, but I know one or two steps not perfectly.
Okay,
That was captivating to maybe the thing could not turn up into learning.
okay,
Anyways,
fine.
but I know the few steps and I can play somehow.
Okay, okay. You should learn to play in a captivating way and at least some basic way. So, okay, very good. Thank you, everybody, for these things. And now we'll just read a quotation from the screen about this verse. So, who will read that? Aruna Mataji, can you please read from the screen?
Yes, Prabhuji. Bhagavad Gita 15.6 Na tat bhasate surya. So at least one life try to going back to that place. Then your whole problem will be solved. Here we are paying so much electricity bill, and if there is no sun, we are rotten place. So why do you suffer in this way? Come here. There is no need of sun, there is no need of electricity. And the prime gain is that if you can go there, there is no need of coming back again. So those who have no information of the spiritual world, they stick to this material world as everything is here. So here is the knowledge. Everything is there, he is giving. We, not that back to home, back to Godhead, is our imagination. No, not imagination. Just like if somebody gives you information of America, that America is very rich city. There are so many big bridges and road and motor cars. So naturally you become inclined. Why not see once America. How it is. So similarly, here is the information about the spiritual world. And why don't you try to go back to home, back to Godhead? The spiritual world is not lighted by the sun, moon, na tadbhasite surya, because everyone is effulgent. Every planet is effulgent. So therefore, there is no need of these things. There is no ignorance.
1 second. I think it's a continuation. Can you see now?
Yes, Reverend. There is no scarcity. There is no miserable condition. That is called Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha means Vigat Kuntha Yasmat Iti Vaikuntha. Kuntha, anxiety. Here, every man, even the richest man, is full of anxiety. Therefore, inviting Krishna is coming, inviting. We are also on behalf of Krishna inviting. Krishna has given you the simple program. What is that? Man mana bhav mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Mam evai yashi, mam evai yashi,
Assumption.
asmaya.
Asamshaya.
Asamshaya, sorry. Bhagavad Gita 18.68. If you simply follow these four principles without arguing foolishly and rascally, man manabhav mad bhakto, these four principles, things, always think of me. Krishna says, not I am saying, but Krishna personally saying, man manabhav mad bhakto. Just become my devotee and mam namaskuru, worship me. So it doesn't require any MA, PhD degrees. Nobody can say that because I am poor, because I am uneducated, because I am black, because I am white. No, because any condition of life, you can become a devotee and go back to home, back to God. This is Krishna consciousness movement. No material condition can check it. This is our movement.
Thank you. Jai Srila Prabhupada Ji ki jai. Okay. So that was the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada. He wants everybody to he wants all this information, captivated information about Krishna. There is a chapter in the 10th canto called as Wonderful Krishna. How Krishna is so wonderful. So if we deeply meditate on Krishna's pastimes, his mercy, his beauty, his dealings, his exchanges with his devotees, we will be captivated by Krishna's personality, and will be captivated by his pure devotees, and then we will also will develop the desire to practice Krishna consciousness very seriously, and then go back to God. That should be our try, like this. Okay. So unless one hears about the spiritual world, makes it as a goal, and practice it seriously, devotional service. Otherwise, if one doesn't do that, then the transmigration continues. And then there are living entities who are part of the spiritual world, and there are living entities who are part of the material world. The liberated ones and the conditioned ones. So the original position is to be with Krishna in his spiritual world. But now what is our current position? Our current position now is that we are struggling in this world. Prakriti sthani karshati. Karshati means struggle is going on with the mind and senses. So we'll read this 15.7. So, mamevamsho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatana manashasthani indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. Please read Isha Mataji, 15.7 translation.
Yes, Prabhu. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with six senses, which include the mind.
Okay, thank you. So initially itself, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada raises a question. He says that initially, in this verse, the identity of the living beings is clearly given. The living entity is the fragmental part and parcel of Supreme Lord, Mame Vangsho, eternally, Sanatana. It is not that he assumes individuality in his conditional life, and in his liberated state becomes one with the Supreme Lord. He is eternally fragmented. It is clearly said, Sanatana. Why do you think Srila Prabhupada is clarifying this initially in the purport? Anybody can guess? Why Srila Prabhupada is saying what he's saying in these first few lines? Yes, Arun.
Yeah, because many philosophy says that when you are liberated, you merge into Krishna, or you become Krishna only, supreme, which is not true.
Yes. So yes, that's correct. So we have seen in this particular Jnana section, right from chapter number 13, right, point 13.3. What was that? kshetrajnam cha api mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Right from that onwards, many purports, Srila Prabhupada, our acharyas, they hammer this particular point that how we cannot merge with Krishna, we cannot become God at any point of time. We are his part and parcel, separated, sanatana. There is no beginning and there is no end, like that. So therefore, this is being clarified, and this is a verse which can be, slap on. This is a verse given by Lord Sri Krishna, the highest authority, as a slap to those Mayavadis or impersonalists who claim to be God. So here it is said, Mama eva amsha. They are certainly my amshas, my part and parcel. So Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan says that Krishna is telling here that they are my part and parcel. They are not part and parcel of Shiva, Lord Shiva, or Lord Brahma. Although they are also lords, they are not supreme, like that it is being said. And Srila Prabhupada further clarifies how many types of amshas are there. There are two types of amshas. First one is called as Swamsha. Swamsha means his own plenary expansions, Krishna's own Vishnu Tattvas, the personal expansions. They are called as Swamshas, like Lord Rama, Narsimha, Varaha, Vamana, etc. etc. They are not different than Krishna. They are as powerful as Krishna, but they may exhibit a particular power because they have a particular mission to accomplish when they descend to this material world. So that's the Swa Amshas. And the other ones are called as Vibhinna Amshas, or the separated Amshas. So Vibhinna Amshas are the Jivas. Okay. So there is always difference between the Jiva and the Vishnu Tattva, like that. That is being highlighted here. And Srila Prabhupada clarifies, he refutes the Mayavad here. In the paragraph number 3, if you can check, the words Mame Vamsha, fragmental parts and parcel of the Supreme Lord, are also very significant. The fragmental portion of the Supreme Lord is not like some material broken part. You take a stone, hit the stone and make into small particles. No, not like that. Or sometimes they say you take a piece of paper and you tear it apart into these small pieces and you just throw it up. That's it. Where is the original paper? Original paper is gone. No more like that. So therefore, he said, when Krishna says 9.4, Mayatatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina, I am spread everywhere by my avyakta murti, by my fragmental parts. So because now Krishna is divided into fragmental parts, there is no more original Krishna remaining. Like that, sometimes these impulsive Mayavadis, they try to give argument, but Srila Prabhupada is saying that fragmentation is not like take some material object and make pieces of that, like that. No, it is not like that. We have already understood from the second chapter that the spirit cannot be cut into pieces. Where we have understood in the second chapter, spirit cannot be cut into pieces.
Nainam Chandan
Nainam Chindanti Shastrani.
Nainam Chindanti, 2.23-24. Nainam Chindanti Shastrani. You cannot cut with the weapon also. Why you cannot cut? The next verse says 2.24. Achedyoyam, adayoyam. It is the quality of the spirit soul is it cannot be cut. It cannot be burnt, like that. That's its spiritual qualities. Like this fragment is not materially conceived. It is not like matter which can be cut into pieces and joined together again. Just like when you make chapatis, we make some, one big gola, and from that big gola, we make some small golas. And again, when we want to merge, we can make again one big gola. Oh, no, it is not like that. Krishna is not like that big gola, nor we are, small golas like from the chapati. So that conception is not applicable here because the Sanskrit word sanatana, eternal, is used. The fragmental portion is eternal. It is also stated in the beginning of the second chapter that each and every individual body, the fragmental portion of the Supreme Lord is present. Dehinosmin yatha dehe. That fragmental portion, when liberated from the bodily entanglement, revives its original spiritual body in the spiritual sky, in the spiritual planet, and enjoys association with the Supreme Lord. It is, however, understood here that the living entity, being fragmental part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, is qualitatively one with the Lord, just as the parts and parcels of gold are also gold. Okay. So we earlier also discussed in very short that they give this Mayavadis, they give this analogy of the what is that? Uh, Gata Akash. Gata Akash means when you make a pot made from the mud, there is a sky inside the pot and there is a sky outside the pot. If you break the pot, what will happen? The sky inside the pot and the sky outside the pot will become merged and will become one homogeneous, like that. So they try to give these analogies, Pratibimbavad, Parichedavad, like that. Pariched means it can be divided, it can be ched, it can be made into cut pieces, like that. That the sky is made into pieces like inside sky and outside sky. So our Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan says, no, it is not like that. The Jiva is eternal, Sanatana, not produced at a certain time like the sky, temporarily confined by a pot. This is Shankara's idea that the conception of Jiva is temporary subdivision of Brahman, like sky in the pot. When the pot is broken, the sky in the pot merges with the total sky. So this is not acceptable, because if the spirit soul cannot be broken, Nainam Chinnanti, what is it? Achedyoyam. It cannot be broken. Then what to speak about the super soul or the supreme soul? How it can be cut into pieces? That is not possible, because we are same in the quality. So therefore it is not applicable to super soul also. From the fragment, you can understand the qualities of the supreme also, or the whole. And we have discussed many times in these discussions also. Bhagavad Gita 2.12, what Krishna says, न त्वेवाहं जातुनासं न चैव न चैव न त्वं नेमे जनाधिपा न चैव न भविष्यामः सर्वे वयम अतः पर. Yes. So neither there was no time, these kings, you and myself, there was no time, we never existed, and in bhavishya, in the future also, there will be no time, we will cease to exist, means we'll continue to exist in our individual way. So eternality, so individuality is eternal. It is not temporary as claimed by those Mayavadis. And also another way we can refute this this claim that that this amsha will is cut by the supreme, and then it will go back to the whole and become homogeneous. No, see, jiva is not a swa amsha. Jiva is the vibhinna amsha. If jiva is the swa amsha, is broken from the supreme lord itself, then how come it is coming under the influence of the three modes of material nature? And how come it is struggling with the prakriti? In this prakriti sthani karshati, manashasthani indriya, with the mind and the senses, how it is actually struggling? That is not possible, because if you say the from the Brahman, from the main absolute truth only, the absolute truth has come under the influence of Maya, and now it is struggling here. So who is greater? Absolute truth is greater or Maya is greater? So that way also it is not possible. It is only because we are Vibhinna Amshas. Vishnu Tattvas, they never come under the influence of Maya. They continue to exhibit their power whenever it is required, like that. Okay. So that's about the Mame Mamsho Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, the importance or significance of the word Sanatan. And about the struggle which is going on here. Manashasthani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karshati. Karshati means there is a struggle. So the people in this material world, whether it is, you go to New York, you go to London, Bombay, or even in small village also, everybody is struggling in this material. We are struggling with our education initially, then the job, then the marriage, the relationships, earning money, maintaining our status quo, maintaining our health, looking beautiful, maintaining our youthfulness, trying to be happy. So many fronts our struggles are going on. But as a sadhaka also, now we have come to Krishna consciousness. Has that struggle stopped? What are some of the struggles, common struggles for a sadhaka? Can you please mention? Are there any struggles in a devotee's life also? Or once he has taken to Krishna consciousness, there are no more struggles. Everything is bed of roses. Quick. We have a lot to cover now. This second
There
one.
are so many. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't raise.
Yeah, please continue.
Yes, sir. There are so many struggles, Prabhuji. After coming to Krishna consciousness and taking Krishna consciousness, the struggles are increasing rather than decreasing, because it is a part of our purification.
Yes. Okay. Struggles are increasing. That the guy in the circus, was one ball, second ball, third ball. Similarly, we have family, we have work. Now we have Krishna consciousness, sadhana, swadhyaya, seva. So many struggles. Yes. Aruna Mata.
But
Yeah. Well, we'll come back. Yes. Aruna Mata. Yes, please. Quickly.
Prabhuji, mostly as what Mataji has mentioned, like the biggest struggle is we still have material desires but spiritually we know it is wrong. So I find that that is the biggest struggle we have. We want something else, but we know that that is not right. And what is right, that maybe at least I don't want it now.
Okay, fine. Very good. Thank you. Kishore Madhav Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, the struggle is between the spirituality, the desire to go towards spirituality, and
I'm in
other
class,
side
I'll
Maya
call
stretching. On the other side, Maya Devi trying to take us away from spirituality. So there's a duality
So
between
the
these.
war is going on with Maya, and that's the struggle in the war, right? War means always struggle. Very good. Nice. Thank you. Maya is testing us so many ways. Those initial struggles of, not eating paz, lasun, etc., they are gone. Eating, veg, non-veg, etc. They may be not there now, but now settled struggles are there. Okay, gross struggles we have overcome. Madhav Harinam Prabhuji.
The struggle with the mind, uncontrolled mind, which was
Hmm.
before trained with the sense gratification. Now we try to train it in Krishna consciousness. The greatest struggle is there.
Okay. Yes, correct. So we are struggling with the mind. Manashasthani indriyani prakrtisthani karshati. So Prabhupada mentioned two things, false ego and the mind. That struggle is also very, very powerful, and that struggle is going on for a long time. It's not an easy struggle like that. So we are struggling with our sadhana, our swadhyaya, our seva, proper association, proper behavior, being humble, surrendering to Guru, to devotees, to authorities, to Krishna, struggling with the mind and senses, giving up the enjoying mentality, bhungte prakriti jan gunam, having proper guidance in our spiritual life. We are struggling with that. And then, of course, progressing in spiritual life, just like we want to have progression in our career, our what do you call that? Performance appraisal, rise in the salary, etc. But we are struggling with the rise in our Krishna consciousness every year by year, and our performance appraisal. Nobody's seeing that. Nobody's aware of that, etc., etc. We are getting settled at a particular level. Okay, we are satisfied. Okay, I'm doing now. Every Sunday I'm going to this content. Fine. So this struggle. What is the difference between these two struggles? The struggle is there in the material life, and struggle is there in spiritual life also. The struggle in the material life is actually, we have to do in order to make facilities or facilitate our Krishna progress in Krishna consciousness. That should be our struggle even on the material. Not that we are independently struggling on the material front, trying to make a career, money, etc., and no connection with Krishna consciousness progress. So all the struggle in our material life should be directed towards making facilitate our spiritual life. That is actually worth. And of course, otherwise the struggle in the material front is actually parabhavastabo dabodhajato yavanna jidnyasatam atmatattvam. Rishabdev says in 5th canto, our parabhav is already decided. No matter how much you struggle on the material front, you will be defeated at the end, as long as you don't inquire about the spiritual field. Yavanna jidnyasatam atmatattvam. Okay, and the struggle in the spiritual world, in the spiritual life, is worth because we are not here alone. Spiritual master is guiding us, devotees are guiding us, there are authorities, there are Krishna, scriptures, Guru, Harinam, Prasadam. So many. Krishna is trying to help us and push us to. Srila Prabhupada writes in 1:2:17 in that purport that Lord Sri Krishna is more eager than we are eager. He is more eager for the jivas to come back to spiritual world than we are. The jiva is eager to go back to spiritual world, like that. So Krishna is making all the arrangements in so many ways so that our struggle becomes worthwhile, like that. Okay, fine. Yeah. So the mind, and we will not go into this discussion now about the struggling with the mind and how to overcome the mind. If you read Bhagavad Gita 6th chapter, there are some clues how Krishna says about how to overcome the struggles with the mind. And even if you read the discussion between Bharat Maharaj and King Rahugana, there Bharat Maharaj, Jad Bharat gives nice instructions about overcoming the mind, the techniques to control the mind. Like he says, neglect the mind sometimes, disobey the orders of the minds, and try to obey the orders of the spiritual master. Conquer the mind with the weapon of service to the lotus feet of the spiritual master. And he says, do this with great care, because while doing spiritual activities also, sometimes mind can take us to for a ride also, like that. Okay. So what will happen after this Jiva struggle Jiva struggle ends after taking to Krishna consciousness and he returns back to home. So Srila Prabhupada says, uh, it is clear, however, in this world that the conditioned soul is covered by the material body with the mind and senses, and when it is liberated, this material covering perishes, but his spiritual body manifests itself in its individual capacity. And then he quotes from the Shruti, how it is stated that when the living entity gives up this material embodiment and enters the spiritual world, he revives his spiritual body, and in this spiritual body, he can see Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. He can hear and speak to him face to face, and he can understand the Supreme Personality as he is. That's a quotation support reference from the Shruti, and from the Smruti he says, Vasanti Yatra Purusha Sarve Vaikunta Murti. This is actually verse from the 15th chapter of 3rd canto, where the chapter is entitled Description of the Kingdom of God. How the people are there in the kingdom of God. There is no other scripture in the world which will give you this information. Who God is, what is his name, what he does every day, what are his activities, what is his kingdom looks like. All that information is there in 15th chapter, 3rd canto, where it is said, Vasantriyatra Purusha Sarve Vaikunta Murtya, means everybody in Vaikunta planets, the residents, they are having a form similar to Vaikunta Murti, similar to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And all of them, they are actually engaged in the devotional service. Like, so I think with these two verses only our time is up now for a break. Do we really need a break, or can we just continue? Or you need a break? You need a break, I think, the silence. So maybe we'll come back in exactly 5 minutes, and then we'll maybe extend for 5 more minutes after our regular time. Okay, Hare Krishna.
I have a question. Shall I ask in the end? Or...
Yes, yes. Please park your question and ask towards the end. After we just finish our discussion, then I'll be able to answer it peacefully. Yes. So now we discussed about the how Krishna is calling us back to Godhead, why his abode is so supreme, and then how he's giving us our identity. We are part and parcel Sanatana, so that also defeats the Mayavad philosophy. And then now next, he also told us about the power of the mind, how we are struggling with the mind and the senses. So how now in the next verse 15.8, now Krishna is going to hint at the power of the mind to determine our next body, like that. The process of transmigration is being explained with the help of an analogy, as the air carries the aroma, Vayur Gandha Nivashe, like that. So the next body is received by the living entity. 15.8. Shariram yad vapnoti yachapi utkramatishvara gruhitva etani samyati Vayur Gandha Nivashayat. Please read Mukund Patru translation.
The living entity in the material world carries his different conception of life from one body to another, as the air carries aromas. Thus he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another.
Okay, yes, thank you. So our Acharya has also explained us, whenever the jiva accepts or leaves the body, he takes these senses with him in the subtle body, just as air takes fragrance from objects and goes elsewhere, like that. So here also in the word Shariram yad avapnoti yachapi utkra matishwaraha. Ishwaraha. Here Jiva is being referred as Ishwaraha. Ishwara means not only the Supreme Ishwara, but Ishwara also means the controller. So here the Ishwara is referring to Jiva and not to the Supreme Lord of Parameshwara, like that. In fact, we have seen in chapter 13 also, Parameshwara also sometimes being referred to the one who is actually uh, transcendental to this body. That is actually to Jiva only, like that. So some acharyas, they can give this meaning also. Parameshwar means also the Jiva, and here Ishwara also means Jiva. And as per the reference and context, the acharyas will give us the proper meaning and understanding of these words. Okay. So, what is this? Okay, it's a small purport. So who read the Mukund Patru? Can you read the purport also quickly?
Here, the living entity is described as Ishvara, the controller of his own body. If he likes, he can change his body to higher grade, and if he likes to, can move to a lower class. Minute independence is there. The change his body undergoes depends upon him. At the time of death, the consciousness he has created will carry him onto the next type of body. If he has made his consciousness like that of a cat or a dog, he is sure to change to cat's or dog's body. And if he has fixed his consciousness on godly qualities, he will change into the form of demigod. And if he is Krishna consciousness, he will be transferred to Krishna Loka in the spiritual world and will associate with Krishna. It is the false claim that after the annihilation of this body, everything is finished. The individual soul is transmigrating from one body to another, and his present body and present activation are the background of his next body. One gets a different body according to karma, and he has to fit this body in due course. It is stated here that the subtle body which carries the conception of next body develops another body in the next life. This process of transmigrating from one body to another and struggling while in the body is called karshati, or struggle for existence.
This is the style of Srila Prabhupada also. In the first purport of the chapter, he will give the summary. Towards the end also, he will give the summary. Sometimes the earlier verses, Prakriti Sthani Karshati, he will mention in the next verse purports also. So this is, this we see. So basically, this is a transmigration. And those who claim, like Srila Prabhupada said, Professor Kotowski, he was a big professor of the, whatever that philosophy section, etc. in Russia. But he was saying, Swamiji, after the body is finished, everything is finished. So actually, Prabhupada says, this is actually the more or less understanding of the entire world in the current position, right? Modern world. They think while the body, we are born, life starts. When the body finishes, life ends. Khao pio, ash karo. Beg, borrow, steal, but enjoy life. Like that they have the understanding. They don't know about the next life and how the transmigration takes place. In fact, if you read Bhagavatam 3rd canto, 31st chapter, the very first verse, Kapil Dev says, Karmana daiva netrena jantur deho upapattate, striya pravishtam udanam pumsa reta kanashraya. So Srila Prabhupada writes there, like, this transmigration is taking place because of these two factors. Karmana daiva netrena. Karmana means your own activities, your, whatever you're acting, you're thinking, etc., like that, desires. And daiva netrena. Daiva netrena means higher authorities. They will decide, okay, this soul will go into this mother's, body, like that, or he will take birth from here in this particular family, like that. So, striya pravishtam udaram, the soul will enter the womb of a lady, pumsa reta kanashraya, by taking the shelter. Reta kanashraya, Prabhupada explains, very important, that it is not just because man and woman they come together that child is born. No, because the soul, by the arrangement of higher authorities, they take a particular father semen's shelter and enter into the mother's womb, like that, and that's how the further things they start developing. So therefore, and second thing here, it is said the analogy itself, right? Just like the air carries the aroma, our subtle body, especially the mind, which is a storehouse of all the thoughts, desires, experiences, good, bad, etc. And then we have ideas of enjoyment, this, that. So that will also be carried into the next body, just like the air carries the aroma. If there is a sandalwood, there's nice fragrance flowers there, it will carry. We have put some nice flowers into the altar. As soon as we enter the room or altar room or place, immediately before seeing also we get that particular fragrance. And similarly, if you are passing by the kachra, then that foul smell also will go into our nose, like that. So similarly, our subtle body will carry whatever conception of life we are carrying in our life. And then our thought process, our desires, our actions, and it will become the next life, like that. So that will be also explained in the next verse very vividly. What kind of body, what kind of senses we get in the next body, in the next life, that is being stated. Shotram 15.9. Shotram chakshuspashanam cha rasanam granam cha adhisthaya manaschayam vishayanupasevate. Please read Madhavari. Translation?
The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. Thus, he enjoys a particular set of sense objects.
Hmm. So kshotram is ear, chakshu, eyes, sparshanam, that is actually touch, sense of touch. Rasanam, that is the smell. Rasanam is actually tongue. And granam is actually the smelling power by the nose. So these are all formed, the specific senses, our knowledge acquiring senses around the mind. What conception, what kind of aroma or bad smell or whatever mixture maybe it may be, we are carrying in the subtle body. So therefore, what is more important? More important than what kind of body I got, how beautiful I'm looking, how fair I'm looking, that is okay. But more important, what is my subtle body? What is my thought process? On what lines am I thinking? That is actually very, very important. And that's how, when we say by Krishna consciousness, we have to purify our life. What is to be purified? Our mind is to be purified. Our desires are to be purified. Prabhupada says our desires, we cannot make it zero. We are not like a stone. We will have desires. We will have ego, our identity, but we have to go from false ego to real ego. We have to purify our desires. I am the master, enjoyer, proprietor, to I am the servant, like that. So our consciousness as a whole, that is what needs to be purified. And Prabhupada gives the analogy of the water here to the consciousness. So can somebody please read? Arun Prabhu, can you please read it, purport?
Yes, Prabhu.
Hmm.
So, in other words, if the living entity adulterates his consciousness with the qualities of cats and dogs, in his next life he gets a cat or dog body and enjoys. Consciousness is originally pure, like water. But if you mix water with a certain color, it changes. Similarly, consciousness is pure for the spirit soul is pure. But consciousness is changed according to the association of the material qualities. Real consciousness is Krishna consciousness. When therefore one is situated in Krishna consciousness, he is in his pure life. But if his consciousness is adulterated by some type of material mentality, in the next life he gets a corresponding body. He does not necessarily get a human body again. He can get the body of a cat, dog, hog, demigod, or one of many other forms from the 84 lakh species.
Hmm. So our original consciousness is pure Krishna consciousness, Nitya Siddha Krishna se Krishna Prem, Sadhya Kabunai, Shravanadi Shuddha Chitta Karayodaya. So purify means our chitta, our consciousness has to be purified by Chetodarpan Marjanam. And then our original Krishna consciousness, we are all original Krishna conscious, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem. That is not to be acquired from outside, and that will come out shining after purification of our Cheta or our mind and heart and desires and consciousness, like that. Therefore, we see there are cats, dogs, the elephants, tigers, snakes. All of them have different senses, right? Different kinds of tongues, different kind of smelling power, different eye power. Like a hawk or eagle can see from a very high height, even a small dead carcass or a small rat moving around on the ground, like that. So all these we get based on our subtle body. And what happens when we purify, when we achieve liberation means we not only give up our gross body, we uh, we give up our subtle body also. It is dissolved by our Krishna consciousness, and then in the original spiritual form, we go back to God, like that. Say, okay. So that's about the how these senses and the next body, the details are being formed. Okay. So why we in the sense, why people in general, we are not able to see this change of bodies happening, transmigration happening. Somebody is having right from the childhood, somebody likes some subjects, has some liking, some skills he might have got, like we say, child prodigy, like that. So all this is, now Krishna is going to, in next two verses, he will tell those who are in knowledge and those who are not in knowledge, they are able to see and they are not able to see this changing of these bodies. So 15.10. Utkramantam sitam vapi bhunjanam va gunanvitam vimudana pashyanti jnana chakshusha. Please read Yamuna Vilas Prabhu.
Yes, friend. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this.
Okay, fine. So Dhyana Chakshusha, without knowledge we cannot see. So please read the purport. Straightforward.
The word Jnana is very significant. Without knowledge, one cannot understand how a living entity leaves his present body, nor what form of a body he is going to take in the next life, nor even why he is living in a particular type of body. This requires a great amount of knowledge understood from Bhagavad Gita and similar literatures heard from a bona fide spiritual master. One who is trained to perceive all these things is fortunate. Every living entity is quitting his body under certain circumstances. He is living under certain circumstances and he is enjoying under certain circumstances under the spell of material nature. As a result, he is suffering different kinds of happiness and distress under the illusion of sense enjoyment. Persons who are everlastingly fooled by lust and desire lose all power to understand their change of body and their stay in the particular body. They cannot comprehend it. Those who have developed spiritual knowledge, however, can see that the spirit is different from the body and is changing its body and enjoying in different ways. A person in such knowledge can understand how the conditioned living entity is suffering in this material existence. Therefore, those who are highly developed in Krishna consciousness try their best to give this knowledge to the people in general, for their conditional life is very much troublesome. They should come out of it and be Krishna conscious and liberate themselves to transfer to the spiritual world.
Okay, thank you. So just like in this material world, we have no money, then to go abroad, study, get a home loan. Banks are sitting there to give us loans, right? For car purchase, foreign tour, building a house, or etc. Whatever it may be. So similarly, we don't have our own intelligence. We can take the help of Guru Sadhu Shastra. We can take the help of these scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, the devotees, and try to get their help and intelligence, Shastra Chakshu, and that way, we should be able to see it happening around us, and then also whatever is happening around us, we should be able to see through the Shastra Chakshu, and that's how we can understand and not remain ignorant like that. So now the next category, the ignorant category, and what is the cure for that? Yatanto 15.11 Yatanto yoginas chainam pashyanti atmani avasthitam yatanto api akrutatmano nainam pashyanti achetasa. Please read. Isha Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. The endeavoring transcendentalists who are situated in self realization can see all this clearly, but those whose minds are not developed and who are not situated in self realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try to.
Okay. So Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan says, others, though they endeavor, what is the endeavor here? Yatanto, endeavoring. Yogina means transcendentalist. Pashyanti, they see, they can see, and they are actually Atmani Avastita. The Atma is situated here in the body that they are able to see, but yatanto api akrutatmano. Akrutatmano means those without self-realization. Nainam pashyanti. Those who are having knowledge, they are able to see. Those who are not having knowledge, they are not able to see. Those who are situated in self-realization, they are able to see. Those who are not able to, they are not situated in self-realization, they are not able to see. So Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan says, others, though they endeavor, having impure heart, akrutatmano, not having developed discriminating knowledge, achetasa, do not see the Atma, enam. The implication is that the Atma is hard to understand. Right? And Srila Prabhupada will give the modern day yoga societies example, how although they are so-called yoga societies or spiritual organizations, they are not able to see it. So please read the purport.
Purport. There are many transcendentalists on the path of spiritual self realization, but one who is not situated in self realization cannot see how things are changing in the body of living entity. Though they may try to. The word yogina is significant in this connection. In the present day, there are so many so-called yogis, and there are many so-called associations of yogis, but they are actually blind in the matter of self-realization. They are simply addicted to some sort of gymnastic exercise and are satisfied if the body is well built and healthy. They have no other information. They are called yatanto api akratat manu. Even though they are endeavoring in so-called yoga system, they are not self-realized. Such people cannot understand the process of transmigration of the soul. Only those who are actually in yoga system and have realized the self, the world, and the supreme lord, in the other words bhakti yogis, those engaged in pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness, can understand how things are taking place.
Okay, so we are very fortunate to having come under the shelter of Srila Prabhupada and the umbrella of ISKCON, where all things have been stated clearly as it is, without any hodgepodge. Otherwise, there are so many organizations, so-called, I have been to them, many of them. So they have no clear-cut idea. They may speak very eloquently. They may give talks at the Oxford, here, there, etc. But their talks are not based on the Guru Sadhu Shastra or Parampara. They concoct their own theories and they speak this and they speak that. And those who are ignorant also, gullible masses, they also try to follow them like that. And then the whole thing actually get misdirected. So like that. So it is stated in the Ishopanishad, those who are in ignorance, their destination is darkness. But those who are in so-called knowledge, their destination is more darkness. Why? The so-called knowledge means they are not actually in knowledge, Guru Sadhu Shastra or Parampara scriptures. They concoct some knowledge, give their own speculation, theories, etc. And this way they are misled themselves and they mislead others also. So therefore they will go into the more darker place than actually those who are innocent and ignorant. Like, okay, fine. So that was the section, the first section, 5:15.1 to 11, going back from material world to the spiritual world. Okay. Now comes in a very interesting section, is about 15.12 to 15. That's about 4 verses where Krishna will talk about, how we can appreciate Krishna's position as a maintainer on the cosmic level as well as on the individual level. So we'll see this. 15.12. यद आदित्यगतं तेजो जगद्भासयते अखिलं यच्चंद्रमांसि यच्चाग्नो तत्तेजो विद्धि मामकम्. Please read Prerna Mataji. Translation 15.12.
The splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, comes from me, and the splendor of the moon and the splendor of fire are also from me.
Yad Aditya Gato Tejam. Aditya Gatam is actually the sunshine. Aditya is actually sun. Tejo is actually the splendor. Jagat Bhasaya Akhilam means it's illuminating the entire world or Brahmanda by one sun, like that. And similarly, Yat Chandramasi is actually the moon. Yat Chagno, whatever the moonlight is coming, and Agno. Agni means the fire. Whatever tej is there in the fire as well as in the moon, their lights, you know that splendor, that teja is Vidhi Mamakam. It's coming from me. It's actually my splendor only, which is getting reflected in them. Like that it is being, Krishna is being telling. So Srila Prabhupada often says, if you read 7th chapter also, as soon as we see water, we should remember Krishna. As soon as we see the sun, we should remember Krishna. As soon as we see the moon, we should remember Krishna. So for a pure devotee, actually, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanina, those whose eyes are anointed with the love for God, those who are God conscious, self-realized, God realized people, saintly people, they are able to see Krishna everywhere. 6.30 says, Yomam Pashyati Sarvatra Sarvam Cha Vai Pashyati Tasyaham Na Pranashyami Sachame Na Pranashyami. One who can sees me in everything and everything in me, such a person is never away from me, nor I am away from him. Like that Krishna says. Like that. So similarly in Ishopanishad also it is said, those who are actually great devotees or the great souls, how do they see things They don't see things separately. They see actually in connection with the Supreme Lord. How the same Supreme Lord is situated in all the living entities, all the bodies, and in everything also. And therefore, they do not hate anyone or hate anything. That is their situation, because they are seeing everything in relation to Krishna only. But of course, those who are ignorant and intelligent, they will not be able to understand this. So Krishna purported is said, but one can begin to establish in knowledge by understanding what the Lord explains here. Everyone sees the sun, moon, fire, electricity. One should simply try to understand that the splendor of the sun, moon, and the electricity or fire coming from the Supreme Personality Godhead. In such a conception of life, the beginning of Krishna consciousness, lies a great deal of advancement for the conditioned soul in this material world. The living entities are essentially parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, and He's living and is giving herewith the hint how they can come back to Godhead, back home. Therefore, even if you see the 10th chapter, also Krishna is giving 80 plus opulences. Why? Because, among the animals, I am the lion, among the rishis, I am the Narada, among the Pandavas, I am the Arjuna, among the mountains, I am the Himalaya. Why is saying that? So that even the materialistic person, whenever he sees that, he should be reminded of Krishna only. Yat yat vibhuti mat sattvam srimad urjitameva tattadeva gachatvam mama tejo amshasam. Whenever we see anything beautiful, grand, we should be reminded of Krishna. We become envious of such persons, right? Actually, but we should be train ourselves to see, oh, this person is so beautiful. How much Krishna must be beautiful? Or Krishna is some spark is there in this person, therefore he's so beautiful. Right? So that way we should be able to appreciate that person rather than being envious like that. And the sun is illuminating the whole solar system, and there are different solar systems. 10.21, the moon is one of the stars, nakshatra, sunlight is due to spiritual illusions. Okay. So I read one interesting news sometime back. This importance of the sunlight. Even the science actually, science also appreciates, the so much of sunlight is being used, and there's no electricity bill, as Prabhupada says we have been paying. So much of energy is being consumed every day from sunlight. And it's not only for Earth, it is for the entire planet only, right? So there was one person who was, one boy was actually dancing in the marriage ceremony of his brother, and suddenly he collapsed. Then he was taken to hospital. Then they found out that he's having serious vitamin D deficiency. And serious vitamin D deficiency, they found out this guy is working in night shift for continuously for many years, and that's how he's not exposed to sunlight at all. And that is the most of the condition in India also. They say 75-80% people are vitamin D deficient. I mean, I recently checked for me, my wife, our son, all of us three are deficient in vitamin D actually. So we have to take supplement, this, that, and then there's some reactions, side reactions, etc. But it is easily available in the sunlight. Earlier time, the lifestyle was so that people are naturally working in the sunlight, they're taking sunlight, vitamin D is actually being developed, and there's no problem. But now, because of our modern lifestyle and etc., and high-rise buildings and air conditions, etc., we all the time sit inside, and this normal sunlight is also not there, and there's no vitamin D, so many problems. So Krishna has made so much of arrangement for us, for the light, for the heat, for the vitamin D, etc. And later on also I had a realization, it is not just the vitamin D we have, which is, if not is there in the body, our immunity goes down, etc., etc., and so many diseases can come up. Actually, the deficiency of vitamin D means the deficiency of real devotion. Vitamin D is actually the devotion. That devotion, if it is not there, then whatever we may do, we may have insufficient vitamin D also. It is not going to actually help us like that. Similarly, this fire, without fire, we cannot cook our foodstuffs like that. Prabhupada says, we cannot cook, we cannot start our factories. So many things are being held by the fire like that. And for the moonrise, moonshine, Prabhupada says, all the vegetables are nourished. The moonshine is so pleasing that people can easily understand that they are living by the mercy of the Supreme God, Supreme Personality of God, Krishna. Without the mercy, there cannot be sun. Without his mercy, there cannot be sun. Without his mercy, there cannot be moon. And without his mercy, there cannot be fire. And without the help of sun, moon, fire, no one can live. These are some of the thoughts to provoke Krishna consciousness in conditioned soul. Right. So that's how Krishna is maintaining. We have to just realize how we are being maintained by Krishna on the cosmic as well as on the individual level. So next is how he is holding all the planetary systems in their orbits, and how all the vegetables they get the juice because of the moonlight. 15.13 Gama vashichi bhutani dharyami aham ojasa pushnami chaushadi sarva somo bhutva rasa. Please read, Prasanna Gopal.
And by my energy, they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice.
Okay, supply the juice of all of life to all vegetables. Juice of life to all vegetables. Okay. Gama avishyacha bhutani. I mean, actually, I'm entering into all the planets, and that's how they are being hauled into their orbits. So Prabhupada gives the two analogies here. One is the dust being held in the fist, and then how a living man is able to float in the water, swim on the water, because the spirit soul is there. If the spirit soul is not there in the body, will the dead body able to swim on the water? No, it will not be able to swim like that. So please read the purport also.
It is understood that all the planets are floating in the air only by the energy of the Lord. The Lord enters into planet and every living beings. This is discussed in the Brahma. Stated, it is said there that one God, Paramatma, enters into the planets, the universe, the living entity, and even into the atom. So, due to his entrance, everything is appropriately manifested. When the spirit soul is there, a living man can float on the water. But when the living spark is out of the body and the body is dead, the body, of course, when it is decomposed, it floats just like straw and other things. But as soon as a man is dead, he at once sinks in the water. Similarly, all these planets are floating in the space, and this is due to the entrance of the supreme energy of the supreme personality of Godhead. His energy is sustaining each planet, just like a handful of dust. If someone holds a handful of dust, there is no possibility of dust falling. But if one throws it in the air, it will fall down. Similarly, these planets which are floating in the air are actually held in the fist of universal form of the Supreme Lord. By energy, all moving and non-moving things stay in their place. It is said in the Vedic hymns that because of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sun is shining and the planets are steadily moving. Were it not, were it not for him, all the planets would scatter like dust in the air and perish. Similarly, it is due to the Supreme Personality of Godhead that the moon nourishes all vegetables. Due becomes delicious. Without moonshine, the vegetables can neither grow nor taste succulent. Human society is working, living comfortably, and enjoying food due to the supply from the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, the mankind could not survive. The word rasatmakaha is very significant. Everything becomes palatable by the agency of the Supreme Lord through the influence of the moon.
Okay, very nice. So that's how Krishna is helping us at the cosmic level, maintaining all of us through the sunshine, through the moonshine, through the fire, through the vegetables, etc., etc. And all the planets are floating in their orbits by the order of Krishna. So now the next one, it talks about how Krishna is maintaining us at a personal level, individual level also. 15.14, how he is able to digest whatever we are able to eat. Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamashudha Pranapan Samayukta Pachami Anya Chaturvidham. Please read, Mukund Patru.
I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities, and I join the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest the four kinds of foodstuffs.
Just like we recite Mahaprasade Govinde. So we can recite this word also. I saw one person, from Bhagavad Gita, before taking food, he was reciting this particular verse. Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva. I'm actually Vaishwanara. It's a plenary portion of, Lord Sri Krishna, who helps in digesting our food stuff. Praninam Deham Ashrita. I have taken shelter into their bodies. Prana Apana Samayukto. And, with the help of Apana, Prana, outgoing, incoming, Apana Vayu, etc., downgoing air, by balancing them, Pachami Anna Chaturvidham. I'm actually digesting the 4 kinds of food stuff. So therefore it is said, we only eat, but how that food stuff gets digested or how that food gets converted into Saptadhatu, the blood and the blood semen and the bones, bone marrow, etc., etc. We have no understanding. We don't know how it is. One devotee was telling, we are able to understand only when there is an indigestion. When we are not able to digest, that only we are worried. Otherwise, we are not worried about how things are going on. So actually, it is said that whatever food stuff we eat and that gets converted to Saptadhatu, when there is a fire in the stomach, this fire which is Krishna is talking about himself. So without that fire, if we eat the food, then actually it will have opposite effect. Means it will produce ama. In Sanskrit, ama means it will only produce toxics, and which will cause all the varieties of diseases. So therefore, a digestive fire is the indication of good health, right? So therefore, it's very, very important. And Krishna is saying that I am there as Vaishwanara. You are just eating, but be aware how much you're eating, what you are eating, because I have to digest sitting inside your stomach like that. So he's saying like that. And then Prabhupada is giving supporting references from Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad. Supreme Lord is situated as fire in the stomach and digesting all kinds of food stuff. Therefore, since he's helping in digestion, all kinds of food stuff, the living entity is not independent in eating process. Unless the Supreme Lord helps in digesting, there is no possibility of eating. He thus produces and digests food stuff. And by his grace, we are enjoying life. Okay. And that Vedanta Sutra also 1-27. The Lord is situated within sound and within the body, within the air, and even within the stomach as the digestive foods. And those are 4 kinds of foodstuffs. What are they? Which is being digested. We sing in the Guru Ashtakam also, na? Chaturvidha Shri Bhagavad Prasado, Swadan Truptan. So what are the 4 kinds of foodstuffs? Okay. If you read Bhagavatam, it is there in the 4th canto. It is given. Charva. Charva means that which we chew. That's first type. Leha means that actually we lick pickles, etc. like that. Chusya. Chusya means that actually being swallowed like that. And peya means that which actually we drink. So Chaturvidha Shri Bhagavad Prasado. So all the 4 kinds of foodstuffs, they are there. Pachami Anya Chaturvidham. All of them are being digested by Krishna in the form of Vaishwanara, like that. Now, Krishna is not helping us only in the material life, but is also helping us on the individual level in the spiritual life also. How? Read the next text, 15.15. Sarvasya chaham rudisannivishto matta smritirjnanam apohanam cha vedesya sarvairahameva vedyo vedanta krut veda videv chaham. Please read. Anuradha Mataji, you will be able to read.
Yes, Prabhupada.
Yeah.
I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. But also, Prabhupada.
No, it's okay. So we'll just discuss now because less time is there. So he's saying, Sarvasya cha aham. I am there in certainly Rudhi Sannivishto. I am situated in the hearts of all the living entities. Matta Smruti Jnanam Aponam. From me comes Smruti, Jnanam, and Aponam. Smruti, Jnanam, Aponam means remembrance, Jnanam is knowledge, and Aponam is forgetfulness. So can you please tell me Any incidents where you can say that Lord is giving remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Correct. So, any pastime or any place, any philosophical point, you can say how Lord is giving us the remembrance. Yes, Kishore Madhav.
Prabhu, when we sleep and when we wake up, we remember everything.
Oh, very nice. When we are asleep, we don't know who are we, engineer, doctor, man, woman, where I am sleeping. But as soon as we wake up, he gives us all the remembrance, right? Similarly, Srila Prabhupada says, not only in this body, in the previous body, so many lives we have lived, we don't remember, we don't have exact remembers, but the Paramatma or the Krishna remembrance. Oh, you wanted to enjoy it this way, you have this desire, okay, I will fulfill your desire now. Do this. Like that, he will give us remembrance even to enjoy us. And in spiritual life, we can see the famous pastime in Bharat Maharaj in the 5th canto, how Bharat Maharaj is 3 lives, as Bharat Maharaj, as the deer, and as the Jad Bharat. So he gave remembrance. Generally, I mean, we don't remember our past life. So what to speak of animal remembering, right? Only in few reincarnation cases, that also in the beginning of their life, childhood, they remember. Otherwise, as they grow up, they forget. So Bharat Maharaj remember even in the body of deer what mistake he has done in the last life, and then he was very, very careful. He left the association of the other deers. He was only eating very frugally, some dry leaves, etc., and immediately quit the body and went to the body of Jadabhara. So he remember his mistake also. That's a Lord's mercy only, right? That he gave only the remembrance. Some devotees ask, okay, Bharat Maharaj was so on Bhava Bhakti stage. Why did he fall down from that stage? Why did he was attached to the deer? I mean, one way to see is, if he fell down or there's a fall down. Another way to see Bharat Maharaj pastime is how Krishna was helping, whether he was in body of deer, in body of Jad Bharat. Why in the body of Jad Bharat he was actually like that, dumb? First we go to toilet and they wash our hands. He used to wash hands and first then go to toilet. Why he was doing like that? Ulta. Because he wanted to be in disguise, not bothered by anybody. Brahmana samskar, that his father was in Brahmana family. He wanted to look and focus on Krishna consciousness so that he will not commit that mistake again in the body of Jad Bharat, now human body, and go back home, back to God. Very, very careful. So therefore, he said he was like, a diamond covered by the dirt. He was not to be seen, although he was self-realized. So spiritual life in the deer's body also, Krishna was helping, remembering him, given him remembrance. Knowledge. Knowledge. How can we talk about knowledge? Krishna is giving knowledge. It is said, there's so many animal kingdom. If you see the birds, they're building so many nests, etc. Even we may be doing IIT, IIM, whatever, I serve this, that we study. Can we build the nest the way the birds they are building the nest, bringing in a small sticks? How many of you seen the bird building their nest? Nice nest, actually. How many of you touch that sample very closely? It's such a nice way, the way the entrance is there. They keep their children, etc. Like that. So it's so wonderful, actually. Even on the trees, they're hanging sometimes, right? How they're able to build that hanging part also. Once they actually built a small these things inside the house, one of my friend's house, relative's house. Even on the electrical wire, they have brought before the delivery, and they are actually trying to build this. So even if all the knowledge library we Google, can we build something like that? No. So who is giving them the remembrance? Once I was studying about this bird migration. There is a small bird called as plover bird. It is there in the, you have heard about the bird migrations. So there's an island called Alaska in the north of America, Canada, that place in the middle of the ocean, Alaska. From Alaska Islands, these birds, when the winter it gets very cold in the northern hemisphere, they migrate to the Hawaiian Islands. That's there towards the south. Okay, that also in the middle of the sea, Hawaiian Islands. So these plover birds, they are having weight of only 75 grams, and they take this journey of almost thousands of kilometers, 3,000 kilometers. They travel from Alaska to Hawaiian Islands. Now, they travel constantly for 3 days, non-stop, 72 hours, nighttime, daytime also. How do they know exactly which direction they have to travel? Even if there is a little change in the 1 degree of trajectory also, they will not land on the Hawaiian Islands. They will go somewhere else. And it is said before they actually start their journey, they eat up extra food and they increase their weight by another some 30-40 grams. 125 grams they become from 75 grams. And when they land on the Hawaiian Islands, if you weigh them, they're exactly back to 75 grams again. So when we fly in the aeroplanes, let's say I'm going from Pune to Dubai, in the night time or even daytime in the sky, 35,000 feet above the sky, above the ground level. If I peep out of the window, will I know whether I'm flying towards Dubai or whether the plane is being hijacked towards the Kerala, Kanyakumari? I will not know. Only the sophisticated instruments, they will tell the pilot which direction they're heading. But how does the birds are knowing this? What is the answer? How much to eat, which direction, non-stop, 72 hours, no land, no trees to rest. Is it by some trial and error they have done it? How? It is knowledge given by the Lord only to them, like that. So similarly in the spiritual field also, Krishna says what? Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upyanti. Tesham satati yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam. Those who are pritipurvakam satatam, they are actually engaged in my service. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. Even if he is uneducated person, but if he is engaged in devotional service, Krishna will give him the intelligence to come back to him. That is the knowledge Krishna will give. Dadami buddhi. And forgetfulness. Can you tell me why forgetfulness is required actually in the first place? Sometimes a student goes into exams and he says, I have become blank, Prabhuji. Blank ho gaya, answer kuch aaya nahi. Blank. Forget. So, okay, that's different forgetfulness. But I'm saying in general, why do we need forgetfulness in this life? How it is helping us, forgetfulness? That's my question. Yes, Prasanna Gopal.
Yeah, the living entities have come here in this material world to enjoy. So to enjoy in this material world, forgetfulness is required. Otherwise, we will haunt by the thoughts of old misdeeds.
Yes, correct. Aruna Mataji, something different you have to say?
Yes, Prabhuji, like we don't remember how many lives we have already taken and passed. So in every life we have gone through like how we died, so many accidents and bad remembrance we have, bad experiences we have. If we remember all of them, then it will be very difficult to live in this life. So that is why forgetfulness is a blessing from the Lord.
Correct, correct. Somebody, just sometimes the people see they just do snap and they kill the machar only, like mosquito. We have been sometimes just killed by like this, just by that. Or somebody's trampled on us, with the leg, they just kill it like that. Or they butcher so mercilessly in the slaughterhouses. So if you have all that remembrance, it's so painful. If somebody says something to me, I'm not able to sleep at the night time, right? ऐसा बोला, कल जाके उसको दिखाता हूँ, this, that we are thinking. So what to speak about, if you remember everything, what everybody said in all the lifetimes, what the other lifetimes Sasuma said and this said and that said, it will be very, very actually difficult. And remember, this is, if you remember, this is my wife from the third life, this is my husband from the fourth lifetime. So much confusion, will not be able to live, will not be able to enjoy here, will become miserable. So it is Krishna's mercy that is giving us the forgetfulness. Okay. So Krishna's mercy that we want to enjoy separately, so he's giving us the forgetfulness also. Okay. There are some few aspects are also still remaining. Vedesha sarvera hame vedyo. So we'll see that next time because our time is up now. I already consumed 5 more minutes extra. So those who have any questions or doubts, they can please stay back. Others, they have something else to do, they can go. So who had a questions earlier? I think Arun Prabhu, you had a question? Aruna Mataji.
Really, it got clear.
Okay, very good. Aruna, yes, what was your question?
Prabhuji, I request you to please explain that analogy of the broken pot now, the reflection of sky in the pot, and then they become one after they are broken. So can you please explain it in context that how do I understand the same analogy when it comes to a jiva, like how it is separated and then how it becomes one?
So how do you understand how it is not correct? Is it not? Is that what you want, right? It is not correct.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, correct. So our acharyas tell us that Parichedavad means that Brahman, which is one homogeneous, got divided because of the pot. Is it not? Pot is made, so there is a sky inside and there is sky outside. So this is, the sky is being broken. Pariched. It was made into pieces inside and outside. So similarly, our Acharya says that is not the quality of Brahman. Brahman cannot be broken. That sky is temporarily broken, and that Mattika Madka is like our body. So now I'm in conditioned state. So I'm a Brahman and there is a Parabrahman, Brahman also outside. So now they are separated. That's what Mayavadis say. So as long as I'm conditioned, I don't remember that. But as soon as this madka, this pot is broken, that means I achieve the moksha. I am liberated, that the inside Brahman and outside Brahman, they become one. That is their analogy, part of their analogy. Parichedavad. But our acharyas say that soul cannot be cut into pieces, temporarily or permanently also. Like we said, acheddoyam, adayam, nainam chinnanti shastrani. So similarly, the super soul or the absolute truth also cannot be broken. The same quality is there. So it cannot be temporarily or permanently also broken. Like that. And second, that word which is there, Mame Vansho Jivaloke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Sanatana means eternally they are fragmented. It is not that at one point of time, absolute truth or Krishna was there, and after some time, that was broken into many jivas. No, it is not the analogy. Can we say first came the sun in the sky, and after some time, the sun was divided into many sun rays, and the sun rays started after some time? No, sun and the sun rays, they are existing simultaneously since Sanatan. Because Krishna is existing Sanatan, Jiva is also Sanatan, there is no death to the soul. So, Mame Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, that also means in there was no time when it was not part of it, and there is no time in future also it will become homogeneous, it will become one, it will become merged, and it will become one Brahman. I don't know I'm God now because I'm in Maya. As soon as I'm liberated from Maya, I know I will become God. No, that is wrong based on these two things. Is this okay now?
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, there is one more question. Like it is written in the purport by Baldev Vidyabhushanji, that mind is the effect of ahankara in the mode of sattva. I have heard this, I think, in one of the lectures
Which
before also.
which text you are referring to now?
Sorry, Prabhuji, which text?
Text
It's the same
15.6,
text, Prabhuji. It's
15.7.
15.7,
Yeah,
Prabhuji.
yeah.
So how mind is the effect of ahankara in the mode of sattva? That is what I wanted to understand.
Okay. So actually, you have to read second canto and third canto about the sarga and visarga, and there it is explained how there is first pradhana. Pradhana means unmanifested form, and then the Mahavishnu glances on it, and because of his glance, what happens? All the Mahatattva, they starts Mahatattva gets manifested. The jivas are impregnated into the material energy, and the three modes are impregnated. Their swabhava, their kala, their karma, everything gets there, because they are in Shushupti now so far in his body. Now they come out with all their previous karma, previous desires, etc., etc., and the Mahatattva starts activated. And then from there, Mahatattva, first comes the Ahankara, the false ego. And from the false ego, the Devatas and, these the 10 senses and the sense Devatas, they come. Then there is the mind which comes, and then the five Tanmatras, the form, taste, etc., they come. And then also the gross elements, five gross elements, the Bhumir, Apo, Analo, Vayu come, etc., they also come. So this is very detailed explained in the second and third canto about the creation, how the creation takes place. Now, one important point here to note, which I can clarify right now, is it is said there that the in ahankara mixed with the goodness forms the mind, and the ahankara mixed with the passion forms the ignorance. Forms the intelligence. So I was also thinking, how come mind is coming from goodness? So it is said goodness has one quality of maintaining everything, right? So the mind is actually responsible for maintaining our material position. मनुष्य मन एव मनुष्याणां कारणं बंध मोक्षाय बंधाय विषया संगे मुक्ताय निर्विषय मन. It is said in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada quotes this verse in the 6.5, that mind is the cause of bondage and liberation. When it is bound with the material objects, when it is associated with the material objects, contemplates on the material objects, it is bound to the material world. And when it is nirvishaya, it is actually achieves the liberations. When it is detached from the sense objects, it achieves the liberation. So mind maintains our position in the material existence. Therefore, it is coming from goodness. Whereas the intelligence, we need intelligence to create so many things, ideas, this, that, our own creations, etc. So that creation part is actually taken place by the passion. So that's how this is being explained in the Srimad Bhagavad. Second.
Okay, one last point is also there, Prabhuji. In verse number 15.8, again it is written, whenever the jiva accepts or leaves a body, he takes these senses with him in the subtle body. So, I mean, I'm again confused. Subtle body itself is my ego, mind, and intelligence. Then what other senses have been talked about here?
We have three kinds of senses. Just like the soul is there, subtle body is there, and the gross body is there. Gross body, we have the senses, eyes, etc. So when I say actually I am seeing, who's seeing? Are the gross sockets, are the eyes, are they seeing? What happens in the near-death experience? You heard about near-death experience? Yes. So near-death experience, what happens? The doctors are operating on the gross body, that is on the operation table. But out of body means the person, the soul, goes out of the gross body and hovers around the ceiling and is able to see everything. Now the gross eyes are here. It is what is it? Anesthesia is being given. He's dead. His graph is being seen as completely anesthesia. The doctor makes sure that you are not aware now of anything. You're not conscious. Then they start cutting your body or doing whatever they need to do. But some patients out of body experience who have, they're able to see from the top. How? Because even in this subtle body there are senses. There are senses. And when the soul, see, you have heard about phantom limbs. Phantom limbs. Sometimes somebody has accidents and their legs and hands are being amputated. So sometimes they feel the itching. The glass. Although the guy is not having the right hand, his hand is being cut for whatever reason. He feels like taking the glass. He has that itching sensation because there are subtle senses also. And because there are senses in the subtle body also, they're able to see from the top. They are not able to see in the spiritual senses. And the last set of senses in the spirit soul, it also has senses, because after dissolving our gross body and subtle body, how are you able to see and do everything, talk to Krishna in the spiritual way? Because you have spiritual senses. But now spiritual senses are now almost dead, not acting now, not activated. And our gross and subtle senses, they're actually working and doing things there here in the material world, like that. So when he carries the subtle senses in the subtle body, means those conceptions and how the subtle senses are being formed around the subtle body. That is being talked about. Gross senses, subtle senses, and spiritual senses, like that.
Doctor, what is the nature of these senses which you said the soul experiences in the near-death experience case? Spiritual nature.
No, they are not spiritual. They're material only. See, that person is not self-realized. No, not it. He's just a normal person only. So his gross body on the operation table, but the soul goes out of the body along with the subtle body, because now he's still conditioned soul only. So the soul is not just going alone. Along with the subtle body also is going out. So with the subtle senses, he's able to perceive and see what the doctors are talking, what the doctors are doing, what kind of steps they are doing, which medical instruments they are operating. He's able to recall everything when he comes back to consciousness after successful operation.
So it is his basically subtle eyes that are seeing, right? Ruchi, is there any reference to? I mean, in the Shastra, is there any reference for this?
I have not. I have heard this from Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. He gives this analogy, which is there somewhere. You can find it also, that how just like somebody in a mall. Let's say in the mall, somebody is in the security department. He's sitting in the one floor of the mall, and he's into security cabin, and he's all CCTVs mounted there, and through CCTV is able to see everything what is happening on the whatever floor. Now suppose he's sitting on the fifth floor. Now he can see the fifth floor happenings maybe through the CCTV camera on the screen, and he can just peep out and see directly also on the fifth floor what is happening, right? So similarly, the soul is able to see through the subtle senses and directly also in the spiritual sense also. That's the analogy he gives. So he gives the analogy how we perceive the normal vision in our normal life, material life, how we are able to see things, and then how we are able to see on the form of when we go out of the body. He explains that with this animation. So that reference only I have. Scriptural reference I don't know. I need to find out if there's any.
Okay, Prabhuji.
But you also study more about these phantom limbs when somebody is amputated, legs, hands, etc. How they especially the soldiers, etc. You can study that and let me know if you know anything more on this. Okay.
Yes,
Is that all done?
thank you, Prabhuji.
Anybody else has
Yes,
any question or comments? Otherwise, we'll stop here. ग्रंथ राज श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद जी की जय, उपस्थित गौर भक्तवृंद की जय, जय गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि। Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.